school, and he graduated from here and he transferred to Texas Tech where he got his bachelor's degree. And so he does a lot of really cool stuff as far as financial or wealth management. But he'll tell you a little bit about that. So if you ever do need his services, you know who to contact and stuff. So.
Cool, thank you. I got to slam down one of these potatoes really fast, and it was so good. So it's nice to talk to people who have like a full belly because you're just happier. Like Manuel was saying, I attended here at South Plains, graduated a long time ago. I graduated high school in 2001, and so came directly to South Plains the following year and then graduated until 2004. And then also transferred out to tech, not immediately. I went to the workforce. I worked in the audio and video production industry with ESPN, Fox Sports News. I got my technical degree here in audio tech. And that was a lot of fun, like 12 to 15 years worth of that stuff, and got to meet a lot of great people, and also see kind of how the ranks went. You know, you start at the very bottom, like rolling up cables and doing like all the grunt work, like everything that does, like nobody wants to do. You're just stuck at the bottom doing that. And then you build up to it. And a lot of the questions I would ask, some of the directors and people there is like, how did you get to where you are? Like, what is it that you studied? What is it that you, graduated in maybe, or what was it that your interests were in? And surprisingly, a lot of their answers didn't match their positions. So you would think like a director of the TV station or of a broadcast for a sports game would be in TV. They're like, oh no, I'm a mathematician, or no, I'm an engineer, or no, I got my studies in sociology or something. And I was like, well, how did you end up here? And I always got kind of a general answer. It was pretty consistent between everybody. It was like, I just love what I'm doing. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. This is not only something I enjoy, but it's also something that I'm good at. And so I would just encourage all of you as you're going through the Star Center and all these classes and everything you're doing right now, it's definitely not the end goal, whatever your goal is right now. It may change or morph into things in the future. So just be open to that and really get yourself in a position, not only where you're successful, of course, financially, but also with your satisfaction in what you do. And one thing that I got a lot of satisfaction in when I was doing that was service and just helping people and being a part of something that people got to enjoy. If it was the technical side of helping plug in microphones and set up cameras for people to enjoy the program, or to enjoy, Texas Tech football and basketball, then that's what I enjoyed to be a part of, got to be a part of. And then in beyond that, I got a chance to really be helpful and help some of my family members get out of debt. And I did that just by simply reading like a very simple financial planning book. And that really inspired me to want to go back to school. And then that's when I applied at Texas Tech and started finding out kind of what programs they had there that would help with that. The first place I landed was accounting. And it sounds like that would be the appropriate place. But instead, it was just all things that I was not interested in. Finally fell into the financial planning program there at Texas Tech. And it was the perfect match because not only did I enjoy what I was learning, but I also got to be of service to people. And so that's a lot of what I do today. And a lot of things that we're going to go over is just to help provide some information for you and also to encourage you like, hey, there's some deadlines coming up. Is anybody here involved with FAFSA or sign that FAFSA stuff? Get their stuff taken care of? I don't think there are applications for FAFSA. If you haven't already done that, opened up on October 1st. So just as a reminder, if you haven't completed that, we'll end with that. But also another thing that I wanted to go over today and really just kind of give you something that you can take away like immediately. And this is a gem that I found throughout my studies and throughout all the books and, stacks of tax planning, estate planning, these different books that I've gone through. There's one book that really stood out to me that really summarized everything. So the gem that I would like you to all walk away with is this title, And whether you get the audio book, the digital version, the hard book cover of it, this to me has the most effective like explanation on how you can be prepared, not just as a student, but as you prepare for your career, and also just maybe being a contribution to your family, how to look at these things. So when it comes to budgeting and spending plans and looking at bills that are due, how many of you sat with your parents to really look over those in detail? Do y'all ever remember going over that or having that talk with parents or grandparents? Not really. I got some exposure to that, but it really wasn't until like I was in college that I really started thinking about how does this affect me? What do I want to look at with these things? And this book, Real Life and Financial Planning by this author, Todd Bramson, it's like the book is like this thin. I finished it like within a week, but all the concepts in there make great sense. It's a really good way to just get an introduction to some of the things that you'll be doing, which we'll go over here in a little bit. But I think this is important for everybody to at least be exposed to. And every once in a while, if you get a gem that kind of helps short circuit getting to your goals, I think this is one of them. And then, just briefly talking about spending plans and budgeting and things like that, this goes over. But what you'll find in this book is that when we look at just understanding finances, there's always, especially for you in your house or just you as a student, there's always going to be this foundation. And as long as you've got a good foundation, it's very easy to build on top of that. And so this gives some really great notes on how to build that foundation. Everybody should have gotten a handout that we printed out for you just to kind of keep with you. These are really just resources. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. It's stuff that you can read on your own and kind of just remind yourself about. But one of the important things as a student is just accessing a lot of scholarships and financial resources for yourself. FAFSA is obviously one of those. One of the things that I did here, and I'll ask some of you if you are included with this, but I did work studies while I was here on campus. In my department, they allowed us to apply for a work study where I was in charge of scheduling the studio time. So as students wanted to book studio time in our department, my job was to collect the requests. Then I would check the calendar, and then I would approve or disapprove whoever had priority and things like that. And the scholarship wasn't much. I think it was like $800 for the semester. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being able to communicate with the people in my program. It gave me a little bit more social capital than financial capital. Does that make sense? Right? So the social capital was that I got to be introduced to the professors and the teachers. So that way, if I ever had a problem or an issue, it was really easy to approach them because they're like, oh, yeah, Ben, he does the calendaring for our program. We can help and or answer just accessibility. And then also people that I would never even come in contact with and or engage with in my program, I had the ability or the opportunity really to interact with them. And a lot of those friendships that I built from that, I still have intact today. And even if it's not a day-to-day friendship, maybe it's a professional friendship where I'll see them later on and catch up with them. Oh, hey, how you doing? And, hear things that they got going on. And now I have that social capital is just expanded to now their new network of people. And so even if it's obviously the most important thing is the financial benefit, you could benefit financially from having a work study or doing something that is related to your program. But then you also have the social capital of that as well. And so you never know where you're going to end up in life or who you're going to come across in life. So as you meet new people and as you come across these people that may seem insignificant or just small, just know that it's possible that you'll end up meeting them or seeing them down the line in some capacity. And I always thought that was interesting because, like I said, not only is it a financial benefit, but also a social benefit as well. The databases for scholarships that are available to you really are just ways to search for different scholarships out there. And they can also kind of help keep you from having to put in the same information all the time. So this would collect your data, put it in kind of one format, and then apply to different scholarships that are available. So it's kind of like a hub where you put in your information 1, 2, 3 times, but it keeps you from having to put it in 15, 20, 25 times. So just look at these databases, create a profile on there. From what I understand, they're free, and you can search for different types of resources that or scholarships that might appeal or that you might be more eligible for. So just be honest in filling out that profile, and it should help you be able to match you with a scholarship that you might be most eligible for. And those two are FastWebs and then scholarships.com. Other things that I think they ask you for in that process of things is just, paying attention to when the deadlines are, making sure that your applications are customized to you, writing a strong essay. I know that as a student here, you have the ability to review some of those writings and those essays that you put together. Is that stuff y'all do here, Star Center? Yeah. So just, making that stronger. And then I think the niche scholarships are pretty cool as well. Things that you wouldn't think you're eligible for might work really well. I'm not sure what the details of what y'all do, Manuel, as far as the scholarship side of things. What do y'all usually walk through? When do y'all start looking at that?
We usually, if we get scholarship information, we send it out, we get an email or tell students about it. So, and they need help applying for those, we can help students, as far as review them or tell them if that's a legit scholarship or,
Or a bogus one.
Yeah, so you should never have to pay for a scholarship. So that's the thing is you should never have to send money or provide, a lot of things that you're credit cards or anything like that. So if they ask you to pay for something, usually that's not a good scholarship application site. So you do need to be careful sometimes.
Well, good. That's the and then the deadlines for the FAFSA stuff. I know you're helping them keep a track on. But those were just some insights to that database and making sure that y'all have that. Wanted to present that with you, and then also this book, like I said, this is really this has an opportunity to create a paradigm shift where it's something you may not have thought about in the past. Now it can kind of introduce you to those things. And like Manuel said, I'm always a resource for you as you have questions. If even if it's not just you and your finances, maybe it's your family's finances. Hey, mom and dad, I know, or grandma, grandpa, or a family member, we're kind of having this struggle. We have Ben, who used to be a STAR member. We have him available to ask questions to. So definitely reach out to me for those things. And just having that guidance is definitely a resource that I want to continue to be for as an alum. What's really great about what I get to do is, in the service industry, I get to help take care of people, help ease their kind of stresses and anxieties about these things. But also it allows me to sit down with students and do those consultations and reviews for free. So if it's ever just a question of understanding those things, it's not something you ever have to worry about paying for in any regard. It's just me being available and giving back. The last thing I wanted to end with also is, the biggest thing that I learned here at South Plains was learning how to learn. And it wasn't just, oh, I've got my degree, I've got my associate's or I got what I need, and I know everything. The people around you and their skills that they've acquired throughout their life, people at the end of their career especially, sit down with those people as much as possible and just ask as many questions as possible, because that's really what helped shape the direction of my career and the things that really make a big impact on me. Well, like I've given you this kind of information today, it's a way to short circuit getting to what your goals are. And so as you go through your time here at South Plains or whatever the future may have for you, try to find ways to short circuit those ways, learn from other people's mistakes, so that way you can achieve and get to your goal even quicker. And what I found through a lot of mentorships and being a mentee is that a lot of people out there really care about your success. Me being one of them, especially for everybody in this room. And so if I have learned the hard way, my goal is to help you avoid that same mistake. And I think you'll find that a lot of great people out there are willing to share that information with you. So don't hesitate, don't be scared, be bold, and ask and inquire about those things and continue to learn how to learn. Anything else?
Yeah, I have a couple of things to say as far as the scholarships. The main thing that for scholarships is your GPA. Make sure that you have a solid GPA. So that's why it's important for you to do the best. Because the higher your GPA, the better your chances of getting some of those awards. Sometimes they're based on GPA, or sometimes you have to have a minimum. But then also just getting involved. So that's the big thing. Is like a lot of times I help students fill out admissions applications, also scholarship applications. A lot of times it's asking you like, were you a part of organizations? Like, no, I wasn't. Were you involved in any extracurricular activities? No, I wasn't. That's stuff that you can do, like to help you get scholarships and get, put that leg up ahead of everybody else. If you're not doing those things, it's like, why not? Like, if you have the time and you have the ability and you have, but if you don't have the time and you got to work, we understand. But if you don't have those obstacles in front of you, you should be making that time. You should be making those connections. You should be networking. You should be volunteering for things. So not only do well in your classes, but also, that social capital. Go ahead and increase that for yourself, because that's what's going to get you that job, is networking, people knowing who you are. Yeah, I know who this person is. Yeah, I'll give you a little recommendation. I know you're a good person. I know you work hard. I know you are committed. You volunteer for your services. So, always try to do extra, okay? So, and that's going to help you for scholarships. That's the big thing, okay? Thank you. And that's it for today's workshop. Go ahead and do your, if you give your evaluation, and we're going to go ahead and do the work Friday strong. So let's go ahead and we'll take the names. But he's here available if you have any questions for him or